What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome into the Mayo Media Network. I'm Chris Meaney, and you are watching Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets presented by Prize Picks. We got 10 games on the ice tonight. I don't even know if we broke down 10 games last week on this show, so it will be a fun show. Lots to unpack here. 10 games. Eric Young hanging by. We'll break it all down with him in just a little bit. If you're new to the show, please rate, review, subscribe, smash that like button, as Mayo likes to say. Leave a comment in the YouTube section. Maybe it is a season-long question. We are already in week 9 of the fantasy hockey season. So if you're playing in head-to-head formats, you got 4 weeks left until puck drops on playoffs. So it's basically playoff time now. So you have a question, an add, a drop, a buy low, a sell high. Maybe you're looking ahead at the playoff schedule. We'll get it all here for you. So we'll break it down in just a little bit, and I'll circle back before puck drop, but it is time for the Prize Picks play of the day. So 10 games, several different options to choose from, and later on in the day, Prize Picks will have some save props and some shot props as well there to attack. So look at the description. You'll see the link, and you will see a promo code, and you'll be well on your way. So I got a couple picks here for you today. Keeping it simple, to be honest with you. 2 studs against 2 very bad teams. Let's start with Steven Stamkos. His total is at 3.6 against the Nashville Predators. Stamkos comes in hot, which is a good thing. He's got 3 goals and 8 points in his past 8 games, 3 power play points over that span. He's playing some centers, winning some draws for people who are playing with faceoffs. It's good in season long. We don't really care about that in Prize Picks, but the minutes have been there. And looking at all the games today, the team applied totals, Tampa up at the top, 3.9 goals. It's number 1 for all the teams playing today. Nashville, they're hurting on the blue line. No Roman Josi, no Ryan Ellis. Poor Pekka Rinne has played a lot of hockey lately, and he's seen a lot of rubber. Just in the month of March alone, 10th most shots allowed per 60 minutes at 5-5, according to Natural Stat Trick. Tampa just smoked the Preds the other day, 6-3. They've allowed at least 5 goals in 4 of their past 6 games. So we're picking on EY's Preds a little bit, and we'll pick on the Buffalo boys who do the show on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Sabres not looking good either. So Alexander Ovechkin, goals in back-to-back games, 3 of his last 4. His total is set at 4.5 against the Sabres. The Capitals have the second highest team applied total tonight on the slate. And I always talk about just a safe floor with shots. You get half a point for a shot. We know Ovi likes to shoot the puck. We talk about it all the time. Anytime you can see his shot prop at 3.5, you just grab it. He's got at least 4 shots in 6 of his past 7 games. So you get a solid floor there. Sabres 5th in goals against per 60 minutes, 2nd in March, 3.75 goals against per 60 minutes, 7th in high danger chances. So taking those 2 over the total. Let's bring in EY to talk about his Preds and what he's doing on this Monday morning. Eric, what's up, man?
Yeah, we don't have to talk about the Preds. It's painful for me. They're in a bad way, man. They weren't a good team, and now they're just riddled with injuries. The starting goalie's out. Their number 1 player, Roman Josi, and captain is out. Their second best player, probably Ryan Ellis, is out. It's dark times in the land of the golden shirts here, boys. Dark times.
We can just pick on all of our teams. Pick on the Preds, Moody and the boys, the Sabres. Maddie's Leafs are going through something right now. The Habs stink. So let's just sit here and jokes aside, we got other things to talk about than that. But what are you doing on Monday, man? As I mentioned, it is week 9 of the fantasy hockey season. You and I always talk about being unique and attacking the schedule. I was taking a look over at ftnfantasy.com. It's a free article, by the way. Rest of the season rankings are up there. Wednesday, 6 games. Friday, 5 games. Sunday, 4 games. The other days, like 10 today, 7 tomorrow, 10 on Thursday, 14 on Saturday. We always talk about this, how you have to make those tough calls on the Saturday and the Thursday. If there's a guy in your lineup that probably won't get in the starting lineup on Thursday or Saturday, you should cut him for maybe somebody on a Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. I'll get into some of those teams in a little bit quickly, but what are you doing on Monday? You're making some moves. You setting the alarm for 3 a.m. Eastern and grabbing guys that other people want?
Yeah, I'm insane, but I'm not doing that. That's a dirty move. People that do it.
It's smart.
I fully respect it, but I also hate your guts. It's just unfair. It's disgusting. It's a disgusting move. I mean, it's a disgusting move. There's got to be a better system, but this is the system that we're dealt with. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. And I think it was Jesse Ventura that said that, and a very wise man. So yeah, it's Sunday was a huge day for me, fantasy wise, season long. Made a ton of moves. Fringe guys that you can find a replacement for, try to fill up the lineup, come back. I came back in 4 of my 12 leagues because I'm a complete lunatic. So yeah, it was a good day for me, man. So you always got to be watching the waiver wire, looking at the ownership, see who's going, see who's not. You need to be making moves. If you're in competitive leagues and you're just setting your lineup and hoping for the best, you're not going to win.
Yeah, and even if you're comfortably like in a playoff spot, it looks like a bye is going to happen. I think you just need to set yourself up, look ahead at the schedule. There's a couple teams playing 5 games in the next couple weeks, and then there's several teams playing 2 games. So I think you just need to adjust accordingly. I'm just going to rapid fire through a couple notes here. So there's 2 teams playing 5 games this week. You got the Penguins and you have the Lightning. So like Kasperi Kapanen is hot. I mean, Tanev, if you need hits. Casey DeSmith is getting starts. He's going to get 2 this week. I mean, he's going to get 1 against Boston, which is not ideal, but the Pens wrap up with 3 games against the Devils to finish the week. Cirelli, Killorn, Gord, McDonough, Cernak, these guys are all available in leagues. The defenseman can help you out and hit some blocks. Cirelli should be owned. Nikita Kucherov skating. If you're in a good spot, I don't know if he's going to play in the fantasy hockey season. Like, he may just play in the last week and in the playoffs, but if you're in a playoff spot and you have an IR spot, I mean, you pick them up and you stash them. 18 other teams playing at least 4 games, so several different options, but attacking the schedule, the Wednesday, Friday, Sunday is the great schedule. Vegas plays those days, so Tuck, Stevenson, Carlson, Smith, Alex Martinez, Braden McNabb return to the lineup, some hits and some blocks, and then the Kings play on the Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday as well. Not a lot there, but Andreas Athanasiou has shown up lately. Kempe, Dustin Brown was a scratch. If he misses some time, AA could get a little bit more extra time. The Habs, the Blues, the Flames, the Rangers, the Sharks, and the Canucks, all teams that play on those odd days. So check out ftnfantasy.com, some ads, some rankings, all that good stuff. Let's get into it right off the hop. It's your Preds, and they are big underdogs today. Minus 315 Tampa. Wow. 19-5-2, the Lightning. The total here is 5.5. Nashville plus 255, 12-16 against the spread, 15-11 against the spread for the Bolts. This game's early, 4 Eastern. What do you think, man? Is there any chance of an upset? Is this a stay away? What do you think off the top?
It is the NHL, and there is always a chance. I'm not putting my money on it. You heard us talk about this before. I'm going to say it again. If Tampa Bay doesn't win the Stanley Cup this year, I will be absolutely floored. This is the best team in the NHL currently right now, the deepest team in the NHL right now. And like Meaney just said, they're getting Kucherov back, the top 5 player in the NHL. So yeah, good luck with that. Best goaltender, best defenseman, and the most deep lineup up front of skaters. So they can play any which way you want, and they're better at it than you are. So it's they're winning the Stanley Cup, and that's what I'm going to say right now. Odds on them winning are poor. Can't win money betting on them to win, but if they don't win the Stanley Cup, I would be floored.
Hurricanes are giving them a go right now. They've won 8 straight. They are atop the Central Division. They played 1 more game, but yeah, it's 41-40. And then the Panthers are right there too with 40 points. Pretty surprising, to be honest. I mean, I think, this time last year we were talking about the Panthers and we were like, they're a little underwhelming. All these players, they should be a little bit better. And they figured it out. The second year, I guess, under Coach Q, they've bought into the system. They've gotten some good goaltending as well. But yeah, it's hard to argue this. Maddie, do you have a say here? This is a Preds team that you follow pretty closely as well.
The Preds defense is in shambles, is the nicest way to put it. EY talked about it, you talked about it. There's no Roman Josi. Pekarine's 38 years old. You said that off the top of the show. That guy needs a break, and if you give him a break, Kaskisuo has to start then. And before the show, EY and I were talking about all these new defensemen that the Preds have. Carrier, Davies, Frederick Allard. And the only guy out of these 3 that's been truly impressive is Davies. And I mean, if you're looking for a flyer on DK, then maybe you go to Davies in a GPP as a salary-saving play. But when your team is starting Ben Harper most nights now on your second pairing, you're in a bit of trouble. The forwards are starting to click a bit. I mean, they're starting to get the picture that Rem Pitlick's a good player, Tolvanen's a good player, the Jofa line looks pretty good up front again for once, but other than that, it's kind of a wasteland for these Preds, and it feels kind of bad to say that, and it's just the Tampa Bay Lightning and every team in this Central, I feel, is so much faster compared to the Preds, and the Preds almost have no answer for that speed.
Yeah, you know how much of a psycho I am, Eric. You know this in the Fantrax
love
league.
it. I love it.
I own two of those defensemen that Matty just reeled off.
Oh, yeah.
Like Carrier is 733K a year, so it's the salary cap Fantrax league. It's the best league ever, by the way. It's
Yep.
so cool. Fantrax. It's just the actual salary, and you're just a GM, and you got to fit him underneath the cap. So yeah, Carrier, he had
The best and the worst.
the best and the worst. Yeah, he's got
Oh
9
my
shots in
God.
his past 2 games. He's got the 4 blocks. 25 minutes the other day he played against Carolina. That's just going to show you how thin they actually are on the blue line, which is absurd. But Fabro's going to come back, so he's another guy that I own, 925K. He had this suspension for the 2 games. He's played 20 plus minutes in 3 straight. And then Davies, I noticed he had like 5 minutes of power play time the other day against the Hurricanes, so that's valuable as well. I mean, he's got no points in the 3 games, but he's got 7 shots and 5 hits and some blocks. So if you're playing in those weird, crazy leagues, and really you just have blocks, because as I said off the top, Nashville's been giving up a lot of shots. So there's an opportunity for some cheap guys, salary guys. Eric, what do you think about Carrier in Fantrax? I think you should go pick him up.
I mean, he's fine. I like Maddie said, I prefer Davies. Watching the games, Carrier he looks like a guy. He's a guy that plays defense in the NHL, and I mean, he's way better at hockey than I am. But I'm not super interested in him long term. But Davies, he really flashed, man. I mean, he coming in from the point and playing it down by the net, and he can really skate. And it looked like he'd already played 100 games. I had never heard of this guy, and if I haven't heard of you, that's trouble.
That's Yeah, so there's really nothing there. I mean, Tampa on the puck line, I think I could get behind it. Usually get plus money when you do a team on puck line. This just goes to show how bad, Nashville is and what Vegas is thinking of them right now. Puck line Tampa is minus 122. It's okay. I will recap at the end. It may be in there. I'll probably take a shot on them on maybe 1 or 2 parlays. It's not my favorite. Philly and New York here. The Rangers plus 100, 16-10 against the spread, 11, 12, and 3 offense starting to come a little bit. The Flyers minus 117, 12, and 13. 13, 9, and 3. The total here is 6. So when I was looking at just this month alone in goals against per 60, I mentioned how bad the Sabres were. The Flyers, number 1, like they're not getting any goaltending at all. Like Carter Hart has been brutal. He's been awful. He's hard to hold in season long. I don't have any shares. I don't even know if I would hang on to this guy anymore. Getting a lot of questions about Carter Hart. And then Brian Elliott, he was decent to start, and then he's been shaky lately too. Artemi Panarin is back, so it's given them a little bit more balance up front. That first line is starting to show me something. The Mika Zibanejad is starting to hit some points. His shot prop's been about 2.5. He's been hitting that. Chris Kreider has been consistent over the past couple weeks, and Pavel Buchnevich has been hitting the score sheet recently as well. The Flyers are an interesting team from a season-long standpoint, Eric. They have a week coming up where they have 5 games, and then after that, they play 4 games. Actually, the week before fantasy hockey playoffs, they play 5, and then in the quarters, they play 4. And there's a lot of just Flyers guys that are just kind of hanging around the wire a little bit, like Konechny, Scott Laughton, Gostisbehere, who I talked about a couple weeks. He continues to impress me a lot. What do you think about this game tonight? I think we may see some goals.
I actually had Gostisbehere written down as a pickup. He's in Yahoo. He's only 16% owned, and he's not the Gostisbehere that literally changed the league, 4 or 5 years ago, but he's looked really good. He's been playing the power play, shooting the puck a ton, moving the puck. He's a guy that you want to be good, because when he's good, the Flyers are interesting. It feels like two different teams. Like start of the year, they look really good. James Van Riemsdyk was like in the top 5 in scoring in the league, which is kind of felt like bizarro world. And Carter Hart was playing really well. And now, the goaltending is absolutely putrid, and nobody's scoring. So it's scary, man. But I think the Flyers turn it around. I think this is too good of a team, too deep of a team. And I think they turn it around. I think they start to do a real playoff push here.
Where do you think the goals will come from? What do you think about the total? So you like the Flyers. What do you think about the total? 6 too much?
Man, with the goaltending on both sides, probably not. I mean, the Rangers have been, better than they were, but their goaltending with Sorokin, Georgiev.
And Shesterkin is out, so it is going to be Georgiev, I think. I mean, we have nothing confirmed this early in the morning, but
yeah.
I mean, Georgiev is not a. We
He
got
hasn't
Carter
been
Hart
great.
actually confirmed this morning, so they're going back to Carter Hart. But I mean, he's got an 8.8 save percentage and a 3.6.
He's been bad.
Average.
He's been bad.
He's been real bad.
I have him in a team, and I'm holding on to him, and it's every day it gets more and more difficult. Every time he plays, it gets more and more difficult. But I still believe in Carter Hart. I still believe in Philadelphia. New York has been better, but man, the 6, I feel like that could happen pretty easily today.
All right, so there was really nothing in the shot props. Even though I like Stamkos up top, it's hard for me to. He hasn't really been hitting a lot. It's been like 2 shots here and there. He's not a guy consistently for the 3. So there was nothing there in the first game for props. With the Flyers, same sort of deal. I mean, Kreider's kind of staring at me 2.5 plus 120. So Benajad is on DraftKings Sportsbook 3.5 plus 135. I think Bet365 will have him at 2.5, right around minus 140, minus 150. I like that one a bit. I think we'll see some goals. I think this is a game where maybe you can take some shots on some goals, like a Farabee, somebody that I like to go to quite a bit. Kreider's hot. Those would be the 2 guys like Kreider and Farabee for maybe some anytime or first time goals in this game. Matt, what do you think? Total 6? Am I alone here thinking that we could see a 4-3-5-4 game?
I like the 6. If it was 6.5, I'd kind of stay away, but the 6 is okay with me, and I'll take the over here. Like you said, the goaltending has just been abysmal. And even if the Rangers, it's Keith Kincaid they have too, right? Behind
That's right.
Georgiev.
Yeah.
If they start him, I mean, he's looked good, but let's remind ourselves who Keith Kincaid actually is. And 6 seems like an attainable mark to go with the over here. When it comes to picking a straight up winner, I don't wanna. I have no interest in doing this in this game. But the over is attracted to me at 6. If it moves to 6.5, I'll stay away. 6, I'm okay with.
Yeah, I would agree. I won't pick a side. If I had to pick a side, it would be Philly. I have more confidence in this Flyers team. But from a DFS standpoint, I think, there's a lot of guys here cheap here. Farabee 5.8, Konechny's 4.7, Gostisbehere 4.7. EY, I saw you pick him up and then drop him, and then I think you grabbed him again. Make up your mind. Gostisbehere, keep him.
You gotta be making moves, man. You gotta make moves.
I know, you're all over it. I'm just teasing. You're all over it. Scott Lawton, 3.7. He's the guy tonight. He's the sneaky little guy in DFS. He's playing in a top 6 role. He's got points in 2 of his last 3. He gets a little bit of power play time there. And in a league with hits and faceoffs, he'll actually help you out there. He does quite a bit. Next game, Chicago and Florida. The Panthers minus 177. They are 18-5-4 on the season. As we said earlier, they're hanging around 12-15 against the spread. Chicago 18-11 against the spread. The Blackhawks plus 150 on the money line. Total here at 6. What do you think, EY? Hawks are kind of coming back to earth a little bit. What do you think about this game?
Oh man, it's the Lakeland story is so cool. It's that kind of like the feel good thing. Like you're thinking, oh, it's going to be Subban and Dahlia. They're going to split. And they're terrible. I mean, I'm pretty sure I said on this show that they're the worst goalie tandem maybe ever in the NHL. And then this guy that nobody knows, including me. And like I said, if I don't know who you are, you're probably in trouble as a team. But I can't bet against the Panthers, man. I don't know if I've ever said that in my life. My entire life of following hockey. The Panthers are awesome. They're awesome. They just win. It just seems like every night they're winning, and it's crazy, man. It's a bunch of guys, Verhaeghe, Frank Vetrano, Ekblad looks like the guy that, we all thought he was going to be coming out of the draft. And man, it's crazy. It's just a crazy thing. And I don't know if it's because it's Florida or just because I have just never really believed in Florida as a team. There's something to say about good coaching. And I think we're seeing it right now in Chicago.
Yeah, Bobrovsky too, 11-2-2. It looked like Chris Driedger was just going to take that net, and Bobrovsky's been getting some starts now in a row.
Yep.
905 save percentage and a 2.95 goals against average. So he's looked decent. He's never going to live up to expectations with the contract. Like him and Price are always just going to get shit on all the time because of the money that they make. They need to be elite because they're paid like they're elite. But he's been fine, right? You could roll him out there in your season-long leagues. I've considered him in DFS. Listen, the Hawks have lost all 3 games to the Panthers this season, 5-2, 5-4, and 4-2 most recently. It's a lot to lay down, like minus 177. I'm not totally interested, but that is the side that I'm leaning. And, Lankinen and Subban, they've went through their moments, and Lankinen has been good. I mean, a 917 save percentage, pretty solid, 10-5-4 on the year. But recently they have been, I've noticed, just coming back down to earth just slightly, like allowing a little bit more goals, and they need a little bit more offense, secondary scoring. Kirby Dach is skating again. Somebody maybe as well that you can pick up and stash and put on your IR, because it sounds like he could be back pretty soon. He's ahead of schedule anyways, so he could come back. You know, the guy for me for shot props that I like that's pretty consistent is Barkov. I'm not seeing him at all on DraftKings Sportsbook. Actually, yeah, -177. It's okay. It's a little high, 2.5, but that's where I would go. I wish I could see Verhaeghe or Vetrano.
I have a hatred for Barkov right now.
Oh, it's a love-hate thing?
I can't do it. Barkov is another guy like Brady Tkachuk, where he works. It just doesn't work for me. He works for everyone else on every other night. And then when old Matty has a parlay on, and the only leg of a 5-way parlay is Barkov that needs to hit for almost $750, it doesn't hit. Thank you, Barkov, so much.
He's done it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of his last 10 too. So like you got him on the 2 days, the 2 games where he didn't.
Yeah, good times.
Fruits. Yeah, I've been there too, man. And it's usually Brady Tkachuk. He's on my list. I don't touch him anymore. But Barkov, from a DFS standpoint, I think pretty good, right? The Panthers have won 3 straight. They've won 5 of 6. Barkov has 3 goals, 4 points in his past 2. He's hit the score sheet in 8 of his last 10 games. He's been an absolute beast. So I think that's where I would go. And you mentioned Verhaeghe. EY, he's available in a lot of leagues too. This guy's up to double-digit goals now in the season.
Yeah, he's playing with Sasha Barkov. Yeah. There's the discussion.
So he's benefited from playing with a stud. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, can you imagine that? He plays on the top line with the best player on the team, and he plays power play time. So yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, no doubt. And Aaron Ekblad has been awesome. He has been a beast. This is another guy that I consider 2.5 shots. I don't know if we need to go there tonight with so many games, but we'll recap at the very end. We got Vancouver and Ottawa in here next. The Sens hung on against the Leafs last night. They're plus 150, 16-15 against the spread, 10-20-1, 6.5 the total here. Vancouver -177. I don't know if we've seen the Canucks with those kind of odds in a long time. Maybe only once or twice this season in games against the Ottawa Senators. Thatcher Demko has been really good lately. He's kind of turned things around for them. The Sens on a back-to-back. Murray got hurt in warm-up. I don't know if I can lay my money on the Canucks, but you're a Sens truther. Are we taking them here tonight?
And like you said, Demko has been better. If Murray doesn't play, it's terrifying. But like beating Toronto, that's a big deal for the Ottawa Senators. And riding a high like that, like. Senators could beat Vancouver. Vancouver has looked better as of late, but early on in the year, Vancouver was a rotten hockey team. Ottawa's not supposed to be good, but they play hard. They got a ton of interesting players. Tim Stützle is only 26% owned, which does make sense to me. The guy's a stud. I think Ottawa could beat Vancouver. The over is too much. I mean, it's 6.5. That's no way. I'm not touching that. But yeah, Ottawa can definitely beat Vancouver.
I feel like the under may be the play with just how great Thatcher Demko has been and how great he's looked. Yeah, I'm not totally interested from a DFS standpoint, but there's value. There's been value all year on these Sens. I mean, Drake Batherson he's looked so strong. He had another 2 goals last night. He's got up to 11 goals on the season. He's shooting the puck quite a bit. He's 5'3". Stützle is 4'6". Like, there's definite value on this Sens team. If Vancouver had Pettersson, I mean, I would be all over them. He's on IR. So, you know what? I think the under may be in – I got to write it down here. What do you think, Batty? 6.5 seems high for these two teams.
6.5 does seem a bit high here. And even if the Senators go back to old Joey Daccord again, I don't mind it. And like we were talking about Demko looks good too. 6.5's too high. I don't want to pick against the Senators, and that feels very weird to say. I might take the Senators puck line. I might. It just all depends on if that line can get a little higher for me. But for now, I think the only action I'll take in this game is the under.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the under is the play. All right, Washington and Buffalo, another just lopsided game here. Plus 2.5 or plus 200 for the Sabres, 9-17 against the spread, 6-16-4. Jack Eichel's going to be gone for quite a bit. Their season's over. Washington minus 240, 16-10. The total here is 6. This doesn't feel like a trap. I know sometimes we talk about traps. Mostly it's in the West with some other average teams, but Washington's all business here. I can't lay the money down. I think, again, if you want to have some fun with maybe a puck line parlay with Tampa, 1.5, Washington 1.5. It's certainly possible. I like to get involved with unders, Eric, when the Sabres play, because I just don't see them scoring a lot of goals. And for the most part, they've been decent defensively. Like lately, they haven't been. They've been giving up a lot of goals at 5-5, but early on in the year, they were playing in a lot of 2-1 games, 3-2 games, and the under was hitting quite often. It is a little scary anytime you go up against a team like the Capitals, and Ovechkin can just come at you. Ovechkin's 4.5 plus 120 in DraftKings. I wouldn't do it, but there are certain spots. You go take a look at the free prop shop over at ftmbets.com. You just type in Alexander Ovechkin. Boom. It's going to show every single book that's available, and you're going to get the best possible odds. And you could find 3.5. I'm seeing 3.5 right now at minus 160 at Bet365. That's roughly where it is every time he steps on the ice. I would take the over 3.5 all the time. 4.5 is just real high. Even over 4 is tough too. Like 5 is asking so much. Will you lay money down on Washington puck line, or maybe you're feeling the Sabres?
Yeah, I'm not feeling the Sabres. They were bad, and then they did the 3 losses in a row to the 15 goals by the New York Islanders. Like
that's 5-2, 5-2, 5-2, 5-2, all 3.
5-2, 3 times in a row. Like that's a backbreaker, man. Like, the cloud of disgust was following this team around already, and then that happened. And this team is broken, man. They're done. They're cooked.
Yeah. What about Taylor Hall? Used to be a guy at 3.5 all year. He's been I can't do it. He's got 3 shots in the last 2 games. Man, Taylor Hall can't even take a 2.5 shot prop on this guy and feel comfortable. Man, times have changed. He used to be a guy that just would shoot so often. And last week I took him over 2.5. He burned me once, and then I got it the other time with no Eichel. I thought maybe we could, get involved with some shot props there with him. But there's just nothing there. Kuznetsov is a guy I take under, but DraftKings has caught on to him. He's minus 215 under 2.5. That's a huge yikes. TJ Oshie, Bet365 is always at 1.5, and that's one that I don't mind. But yeah, Washington and goals here tonight. Montreal and Winnipeg, the Jets plus 100. The Jets have been plus money in every game against the Canadiens this season, and they've won all of them but one. Montreal minus 115, 13-14 against the spread, 22-5 the Jets against the spread. All of a sudden, the North Division in reach for the Winnipeg Jets, just 4 back of the Leafs with 3 games in hand. They are 7-2-1. They're rolling, man, ever since they got Pierre-Luc Dubois in their lineup. Paul Stastny has looked great on the wing. He now has left wing eligibility in Yahoo leagues. He is on a bit of a heater right now. If you want to get involved with him, maybe just an anytime point. I like the Jets tonight. I just think that they've played good hockey. It does feel like there could be a trap. You played those 3 games in a row against the Leafs, and they were, hard-fought games, arguably outplayed in 2 of the 3, but got points in 5 of the 6. I see a lot of people that cover the Leafs and look at analytics a lot. I do it myself as well, but I also watch the games. I'm not saying that those people don't watch the games, but there was a lot of back and forth between Jets fans and Leafs fans that I noticed on social media on Saturday. I don't know if you noticed it, Eric, but it was like, okay, well, the better team is definitely Toronto. They outplayed them in 2 of the 3, but the Jets had points in 5 of 6. Something needs to be said about a team finding a way to win too, right? I mean, you can get outplayed, but find a way to win a hockey game and then adjust in game 3. Like they got outplayed. I watched all 3. They got outplayed. Hellebuck stole the show in a couple games. He got outplayed, but
he was unreal.
He was unreal. And that's why he's a Vezina winner. And that's why he's a Vezina candidate. And that's why the Jets are good. Yeah, they have holes defensively and they give up a lot of rubber, but I thought they made some good adjustments in game 3 without Hellebuck in net. And I thought they played great in that game. So something also needs to be said about teams finding ways to win hockey games as well. I think the Jets are really good. I think they're strong. I would like to see them make a move, maybe at the deadline for a defenseman, right? Imagine if they still had Bufflin. They still had these other guys that they lost. Like, I mean, they made the trade for Trouba, traded him away, traded Myers away. So they've lost a lot of defensemen over the past couple of years. That's where they're a little lacking. Would you agree with that? Like, that's their one
They're
whole team.
super thin, and it actually floored me that they didn't do anything. In the offseason, like you didn't even hear anything about them going after anybody. I mean, last year we could say, like Bufflin said, "Oh, I'm not coming back to play." Troop is on his way out. And you're like, well, what are they going to do at defense? Tucker Poolman and like these, no-name guys playing 20 minutes a night. And you're like, man, they're in trouble. And they were still pretty good. And this year, I think they're even better. There's some of those guys are surprised, but they need a stud on defense. There's nobody there that I'm like, okay, he can change the course of a game. They're all just guys. And the fact that they didn't do anything was very surprising to me in the offseason. But yeah, they need to make a move here, and they need to make it soon. They're so dangerous, but giving up that many chances, Hellebuck can't do that every night.
No, he can't. No, they need to give him some help. I expect him to get back between the pipes. This is the first of two between these two teams, and then I believe Winnipeg has a back-to-back on Wednesday and Thursday, so he may not start the second game. But Stastny, yeah, I mean, he's got goals in back-to-back games, and he's got 5 goals in his last 6 games, 7 in his last 7. So he's somebody to consider maybe. Like, he doesn't shoot a lot, so I wouldn't look at his shot prop. I don't think he's even available shot prop, but like a point, right? Maddie, talk about this game. I'm going to look up some points here because I think we'll see some offense.
One of the first things when I looked at the slate, I do just a general overview every morning and the night before when I'm building the graphics. And this game, I was like, the Jets are plus 100, and I was genuinely surprised at that. So in terms of the overs, in terms of the straight up winner, I like taking the Jets here at plus 100. I also like the over at 5.5. I don't think Hellebuck is as good as he's been against the Leafs consistently. I also don't think he's a bad goalie. I think he's somewhere in the middle between there. I don't think he's that Vezina winner. And I feel like it's a hot take, but I don't think he's just the greatest goalie since the fourth coming of Jesus Christ. Like, I don't think he's that great, but I also don't think he's terrible. Give me the over 5.5. Give me the Jets plus 100. Give me Stastny as a shot prop. Give me Kyle Connor as a shot prop too, and give me Toffoli as a shot prop. Those are where I'm at. All overs. But yeah, I'll have a lot of action in this game alone. It'll also be a hell of a game to watch. And I also don't think the Habs are that bad. It's just going to be a tight game. But if you're going to give me the Jets at plus money, I'm going to take it.
That's where I'm at too. And as I mentioned, they've been plus money in every matchup. And it was a 6-3 win for the Jets. It was a 2-1 overtime win for the Jets. It was a 4-3 overtime win for the Jets. And then we had that 7-1 shellacking. So they've taken 3 of 4. All the games besides that last one have been pretty close, pretty competitive. But I don't know if I'm there on the over. I feel like Price has turned the corner. He's looked really good. We'll talk about the Flames in a little bit. The Habs were brutal in those 2 games against Calgary. By no surprise, right? Sutter behind the bench. We'll get into them in a little bit, but they really just didn't give up a whole lot. And that's just the way that the Calgary Flames are going to play from here on out. It's going to be a defensive-minded game from them, and got to give them credit. They just bottled up Montreal, and the Canadians couldn't get out of their zone. But there's some props to attack here. Matt just nailed them all. Toffoli 2.5. I know he didn't hit, but again, there was something there against this is going to be a little bit more wide open. The Jets are among the leaders in allowing shots, high danger chances, and we just talked about Hellebuck. I agree. I don't think he's going to win the Vezina, but he has saved them quite often. He's going to see a lot of rubber from here on out. Connor 2.5 is a guy I like, and Ehlers is a guy I like 2.5. I would rank them actually Connor, Toffoli, Ehlers, but all 3 of those guys you can get involved with. I didn't see a Stastny point, but depending on your book, just take a look. He may be plus money. Like Scheifele and Wheeler and Connor and Toffoli, these guys are not plus money for any time point, but I guarantee you Stastny is one of those guys that doesn't get the respect. He's probably a plus money guy from a book standpoint, and from a DFS standpoint, these Jets are, besides the studs, they're cheap. Like Dubois, 3.9 on DraftKings. There's no need of it. Kyle Connor's 5.9. Wheeler's 5.6. Morrissey is 4.1. He's another guy who's just touching all kinds of categories lately. And Stastny is 3.7, Eric. He's 3.7 on DK.
Like those savings.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so I'm going to lean with the Jets. Eric, What did you say? You got a feel there? You like the
Yeah,
Jets? To take
Jets for me. Before then, going on the show, I was going through the odds and stuff, and I put money on Jets at plus 100.
Okay, plus 100. That's nice. All right, so sticking in the North, we got Calgary and Edmonton here next. I mentioned the Flames. They took both games against the Habs under Sutter, 13-15 with the spread on the season, minus 114, 13, 12, and 3. The total here is 6. I'm kind of leaning under from what I just talked about, but it is scary anytime you're going up against the Oilers. Minus 104 Edmonton on the road, 13-17 against the spread, 18, 12, and 0. This is a big game. They're all big games now from here on out. We're going to say that a lot, but it certainly is, especially inside this division. You got the Flames now 2 points back of the Habs. They played 28 games. They are 7 points back of the Oilers. The Oilers have played 2 more games than them. So what I noticed is just classic Daryl Sutter hockey. When he took the Flames to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2004, his team had a 2.02 goals against average. When he took the Kings to the Cup, what they won, and both Cups actually that they won, they had a 2 goals against average. So they had good goaltending. They had good defense on those teams. I think he has good defense on this Flames team. I think there's some solid defenders that they have. And Jacob Markstrom, I think, is really strong. I don't think that they're a team, and I think Sutter knows this, and I believe we talked about this last week. I don't think the Flames have the personnel really to go on a deep run. But Sutter's a good coach. He understands what needs to be done. And it looked like a team to me that was just tight defensively. They played a lot of dump and chase. They used their speed. They got after the Canadians, and they they made some turnovers happen. I think they can do that with this Oilers defense as well. But man, I think they're just going to play a lot of unders. I don't want to put my money on them. I like the under here. I think there's a team that they're not going to score a lot of goals, and I don't think they're going to give up a ton, even against the Oilers.
Yeah, they're going to possess the puck, and they're going to keep it a low event game, and that's what they should do. I mean, they've proven that they can't keep pace with some of these other teams in the North. That's the recipe for Calgary to have success. That's how Daryl Sutter has always coached. And like you said, with guys like Dubé and Mangiapane, like dumping the puck and having those guys chase guys down. I mean, that's a winning recipe in my opinion. Those guys are on top of you pretty quick. You get the defenseman turning around. This Calgary team is going to be very interesting down the stretch here. I mean, I think they could sneak into the playoffs.
Well, who comes out then? The Habs? Because no, it's all good. We had Nick on the show, Alberga, and he said Oilers were the odd one out. He thought that Edmonton would be out.
And that wouldn't surprise me either. I mean, like they have 2 of the best players in the league, but at the same time, like nobody else does anything.
Yeah, I know.
This is the problem.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, I thought about dropping him the other day, but the Oilers may make a change where, I mean, he's got points in 3 straight. He's not as bad as I thought, but he's not scoring anymore. That he's not playing with either Draisaitl or McDavid, right? They still have that line loaded up with Kailer Yamamoto on it. I think I'm going to lean with the under here. Shot props, Matthew Tkachuk is one that I like, but he's been juiced up lately too, so it's just a quick little look at him. Yeah, minus 162 is not bad. Minus 162, 2.5. McDavid, 3.5, minus 112. I like that one. Minus 112. I know it's 3.5. It seems high, but he has had some success against the Flames. So I am leaning with the under here, Eric. I don't know. Matt, am I crazy going in with the under in a
under for me?
I like the under. I think the under is the way to go here. The Oilers, I don't want to even attempt to pick who out of these 2 teams will make the playoffs because I've heard cases for both teams, and I don't know. I'm too much of a coward to jump on either side of the fence right now. Maybe next week I'll pick a side, but I mean, I'll admit I'm a coward. But yeah, give me what do I like for shot props here? I think that's the hardest thing for me to decide. I don't really want to go to McDavid. I might take McDavid power play points 0.5. Like, that's just a fun one for me with any of the major superstars, and it's usually plus money. So I like diving into there. Other than that, I know I said earlier that the game between the Habs and the Jets was going to be fun. This one will be fun too.
Yeah, this one will be fun. The shots have been there for McDavid against the Flames. He had 5 in his last one. He had a game with 4. He had the big 5-point game where they blew him out. But again, a lot has changed. So I think the under 6 is going to be on my card here. I know it seems scary. And then there was a time FTN subs. People who are listening probably will get this, but the over-unders have been rough this year, but we've nailed 8 in a row. So let's keep it going. They were real bad, and we were talking about fading all the totals that I put. So hopefully we can just keep something going here. We did miss one game. We'll get to in a little bit. It was Boston Pittsburgh. I've been going in order of time here, but we'll roll through this one pretty quickly, I would imagine. Vegas and San Jose minus 245 for the Golden Knights, 11-14 against the spread, 18-6-1. Sharks 11-11-3 on the year. 15-10 against the spread. They've done better than I've thought that they would heading into the season, but still not ideal. Plus 205. Any chance of an upset here? EY? I mean, it's NHL. There's always a chance of an upset, but will you put your money on an upset?
No, yeah. Like you said, there's always a chance, but I just, my belief in San Jose is gone. At the start of the year, I thought, man, healthy Carlson, Burns, even Vlasic is still there. Timo Meyer, I think, is somebody I've believed in, and he's burned me a bunch of times. Logan Couture, I'm thinking, okay, Kevin LeBanc has got something to prove to try to make some more money down the road. And they have been bad. Carlson is non-existent, and he is not the player that he was at a point. I mean, he was the best player in the league. I don't think it was even arguable. But at this point, I'm not putting any money on San Jose to do anything good.
I got Vegas by 2 goals, puck line. But I will say this. If there's no Fleury, I know, and it's a late game, so you'll have to, I think they play Fleury. They've been playing Fleury quite often. But this would be a spot where they could maybe give him a little bit of rest. It's possible. They played San Jose 3 times this year. They've won all 3 games. They won 3-1. They won 5-4 in overtime. They give up 2 goals late. Like, I remember having them on the puck line. They give up 2 goals late, and they won the game in overtime. And then they bounced back the very next night, and they won 4-0. But that game where they gave up the 2 goals late, it was Dansk was in net for them. So that's where I have a little bit of pause, where if it's not Fleury, then whatever. They're going to win by 2 goals. It's Vegas. Like, they're all business, right? And shot props are tough. Pacioretty is always 3.5. He's one that I usually get behind, but lately he's just been at that 3. So it's tough to get involved with him. Couture 2.5 plus money. That's tough too. Kane is up to 3.5 plus 130. William Karlsson, he doesn't shoot, but under 2.5 is minus 240. There's really nothing here. Check your books. Marchessault is one that I would like at 2.5. I think, 3 shots. He's starting to heat up a little bit. Riley Smith starting to get going. Mentioned last week, I think, when Vegas played the Sharks, right? It was only a matter of time before Riley Smith started to hit the score sheet, and he scored in both games against San Jose. So from a DraftKings standpoint, like, there's so many games here tonight. It's going to be pretty easy to be unique where you don't really need to go there. But a lot of these guys are cheap, like Marchessault 5.5, Tuck scoring, he's 5.4. I maybe stay away from Tuck, even though I like him.
Yeah, they moved him back down the lineup. I'm staying away from him.
Yeah, Riley Smith 4.4 here. Marchessault 5.5. There's no reason for Stone to be a 6K player, even though he's a pass first guy. And then Chandler Stevenson is on a heck of a run. He is 4.4. And then William Karlsson's 4.7. Like, Vegas has the 3rd highest team implied total tonight, and a lot of their players are 6K and under on DraftKings. So that's kind of where I'm going tonight. LA and St. Louis, we got the Kings plus 123, 19-8 against the spread, 11-10-6. The Blues minus 143, 7-21 against the spread. Matt, that has to be one of the worst records going.
I actually noticed that last night, and I went, holy shit, that's terrible. The Kings 19-8, though, on the flip side, it's one of the best.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jets, I think, run away with the best against the spread record, but the Kings 19-8 and the Blues 7-21. Now, I have a question for both of you. Does this speak more towards of how underwhelming the Blues have been, or is this just like, this is what you kind of expect? Because a lot of the favorite teams this year do have losing records against the spread, but 7-21 is kind of bad. Is that just some puck luck, or is that straight up underwhelming?
I think it may be a little bit of both, but I'm kind of leaning underwhelming. I think maybe the Blues get a bit more credit than they deserve. They're just a couple years away from, winning the Stanley Cup. They haven't had the goaltending. Mike Hoffman has been underwhelming. They've juggled their lines a little bit. Vladimir Tarasenko finally hit the score sheet the other day. The Kings have had their way with the Blues this season. They played them. I've already played them 6 times. but they've beaten them 4 of the 6. Like St. Louis won the first one 4-2. They lost 6-3. They lost 3-0. They lost 2-1. They won 3-2 in overtime, and then they lost 4-3 in overtime. And they had the 3-0 win in that latest game against the Kings. I still can't put my money on Los Angeles, though. I don't know what it is. I just, it's probably maybe a stay away. I'd like to know if Dustin Brown is going to play. I know it's just one guy, but he is a key guy in their offense on the power play.
I was reading that he's going to play, but they haven't removed the injury designation yet. But I read somewhere this morning that he was going to play. Before we started the show, I put money on Los Angeles to win. St. Louis is underwhelming. Like if you watch their games, they don't look like the same team. And for me, and this feels like we're in bizarro world, but the Los Angeles Kings have a ton of speed, and St. Louis is not a fast team, and it makes the Los Angeles Kings match up with St. Louis very well, and makes LA really hard to play against for St. Louis. Tarasenko coming back, he's looked okay. Hoffman's underwhelming, and they don't have anybody that is can just take over a game. They don't have players like that. So when they're not all going, and the St. Louis isn't playing as a complete team, they're beatable, and I think LA is going to beat them tonight.
I like the call by you. Yeah, it does make a lot of sense. St. Louis is not the quickest team, right? David Perron here at 2.5. I like him. We gave him out the other day. He's got 11 shots in his past 2 games. He's been pretty good, right? He's been the one consistent player I think the Blues have, right? I think that's fair to say. I mean, Jordan Kyrie's showed up, and Sanford's on the top line again. They've juggled it around so much. I believe as of today, they have Sanford with Ryan O'Reilly and David Perron. And then they kind of mix and match with some of those lines. And then they're all playing together on the power play with Tarasenko and Shen in there. But Perron is the guy. He gets a lot of minutes, 22 minutes the other night, 6 shots, 17 minutes the night before that, 5 shots. He's probably my favorite shot prop guy. If Dustin Brown does play, I would go back to him. I believe it's 8 straight games he's done it. So last night he was just a late scratch, and it's just like a void, whatever. You just take it off the ticket. But if he does play, 2.5 is a shot prop that he's been getting like early. It's nice, so you don't have to sweat it out. Yep. Sometimes you need overtime to get there, or late in the third, and you're sweating it out. But Brown, it's like you look up after the first, it's like, oh, nice, 2 shots already, or 3 shots. But David Perron plus 115, 2.5 shots. That's it, really, for me there. Where do you think the goals would come from LA?
I mean, the LA Kings are interesting. Dustin Brown is having an unbelievable season. People forget Jeff Carter still plays here, a very good player. Not who he was, but still a big body, can skate, can shoot, smart player. Lizotte, what's the kid from? Is it Grundstrom from Toronto? I think is going to be a player. Athanasio, speed to burn. Kempe, speed to burn. This is a hard team to play against, LA, and I don't think they're getting the respect they deserve. And St. Louis has been underwhelming. Like I said, I'm going LA to win tonight.
Oh, baby. I like it. All right. So this game I skipped over by accident. So this is the last game of the night. Boston and Pittsburgh, the Pens minus 106, 12-15 against the spread. 17-9-1. Was looking a couple weeks ago that this team may not make the playoffs, but they made the change in the front office, and they have been one of the hottest teams in the entire league since Ron Hextall and Brian Burke have taken over. They've won 5 straight. They're 7-3 in their last 10. The Bruins minus 110, 7-18 against the spread, 14-7-4. Boston sitting in 4th place now in the East, but they do have some games in hand. They got 4 games in hand on the Islanders, who have won 9 straight. The Capitals won 4 straight. The Pens have won 5 straight. So these teams are all winning besides the Sabres, who have lost 10 straight and have a negative 30 goal differential. Pens and Bruins, always entertaining. I love when these two teams play each other. Honestly, you get the perfection line in Boston, and then you got Crosby, who has been really good this season. A guy that nobody's really talking about, to be honest with you. Yeah. Even in season long and fantasy, you're like, Crosby, fine. I guess I'll take him in the first round. I thought about taking Zibanejad over him, and it's like, thank goodness I didn't, because Crosby enters tonight on a 6-game point streak. He's got 3 goals over that span. He's got 26 points on the season. What do you think, man? This is a tough game to call.
It is. And betting against Boston never feels right. And I don't know, because they've broken my heart so many times, or, every time you see the perfection line on the ice, they're just getting it done. But Pittsburgh has been hot, and Teddy Bluger for Hart. That's a real thing.
I wrote him up at FTN Fantasy. I'm like, what am I doing writing up this guy? But he's
awesome.
And he's winning faceoffs and throwing his body around. Yeah, he's
just a really good complete player. And I feel like this is what Pittsburgh does. I mean, every year it's some guy with some weird name. Brian Rust, they turned him into this unbelievable player. I mean, they just do it every year, and this year it looks like it's going to be Teddy Bluger. The name sounds made up.
Rest of the season, Bluger or Evgeny Malkin?
Oh, geez. I mean, I'm still probably going to say Malkin, but I mean, Bluger's fun.
Yeah, Bluger is fun.
It's fun to say.
To be honest, as much as we're ripping on Malkin here, he's turned it around. He's got points in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow, he's on a heater. He's got points in 7 straight games, 8, 9 of his last 11. So he's up to 7 goals on the season too. So I was telling people not to buy low on him. That's my bad. You can't now, but maybe you can sell high. I don't know. He's on a heck of a run. So maybe you just hold and you keep him. As we mentioned, the Pens play 5 games this week, so that's really beneficial. But yeah, they've been rolling lately. It's hard to bet against them. I'll probably stay away like a coward. But honestly, if I had to pick a side, I think I would go with Boston. I still think Boston is the better team, even though Pittsburgh's coming in here pretty hot. But they got the games in hand. Boston's just one of those teams, and they just need to turn it up. They just turn it up, and that's kind of it with no analysis behind it. But the Bruins, that top line sometimes it's just too much to handle for other teams. Pasternak's sitting here at 3.5 shots. I will get behind that one. The Pens still giving up a ton of rubber. They've been getting some good goaltending lately too. Matt, do you want to decide the factor here? Like, who wins this game? Who does it?
I don't really want to decide between these two here. There's a lot of games like it's not that I'm being a coward. It's just I don't want to put my money on it and just waste it there. This is another game that I'll just straight up enjoy watching because, I mean, the last time we saw Boston play, the Rangers made them just look silly. So I don't really want to dive back to that. We're Pittsburgh. Teddy frickin' Bluger. There's a lot going on. DFS, I think I'll have a lot of action here because I do think goals will be happening in this game. But other than that, straight up winner, I can't do it.
All right, fair enough. I think, you know what, Eric, I think the Pens are going to continue to roll. I think the Pens will continue to roll, but it won't be on there. All right, should we recap? What do we got from Friday, Matt?
So Friday, you gave out 6 picks. You gave out Vegas, St. Louis over, that hit. St. Louis money line did not hit. Arizona mini under hit. Arizona puck line was a resounding no. I'm sorry for that. Anaheim, San Jose over was a yes. And then your shot props, you went 4 for 5. Zuccarello, Perron, Brown, Raquel all hit. Old Patches missed for us there. 10 for 14 on shot props this season since we started tracking. 74 and 120 on straight up picks.
Nice. Yeah, we had a surprise start from Fleury Friday night, didn't we? He just randomly came off the COVID list. And I was like, uh-oh, maybe we won't get that over. And we did get the over there. And yeah, I know Cam was not happy Friday night with the Coyotes. We had them on the puck line. It was 0-0 after 2. How dare us bet against the Minnesota Wild, Eric? What do you think off the top of your head here as we were rolling through all these games? Who are some of your favorite plays tonight?
It sounds crazy. LA is a team that I like. What was the one earlier? I like Calgary tonight too, which seems crazy. Winnipeg. Those are like the ones that I feel pretty good about. The LA one is just a gut feeling, but I put my money there. I'm not advising that you do that, but looking at it and how I break it down in my head, I think LA can beat St. Louis. They've had their number all year.
Yeah, they really have. Okay, so there's a lot of games here. I'll try to just give my favorites off the top. I know puck line is tough, but I really like Tampa puck line and Washington puck line. And Vegas puck line, my goodness, and what am I doing? I think you could just have some fun and put 3 of those on one parlay. Whatever, just shoot for the moon there. You get minus 103 Vegas puck line, plus 100 Washington puck line, and then Tampa is minus 122 puck line. You can have some fun, put those off to the side. I think we'll see an under in Calgary and Edmonton, under 6. I think we'll see under 6.5 between Vancouver and Ottawa. And I think we'll see over 6 in Philly and New York. My straight up picks would be Winnipeg, Florida. Oh man, let's get a third in here. Pittsburgh. Let's go with Pittsburgh. I was on the fence. I wasn't even going to pick it. Let's go with Pittsburgh. But I think honestly, like with some of these like heavy favorites, you can still put them into a parlay if you make it like a 4-gamer. Like Tampa's too much, but I still think you can do Washington and maybe Vegas. Washington, Vegas, and then, grab some of the totals, the under in Calgary and Edmonton, the under in Vancouver and Ottawa, and then that's a 4-game parlay, and it's a decent return there. So there's a lot of games. Check out ftmbets.com. We get some confirmation goalies. I'll circle back if anything crazy happens in net, but I think for the most part, going to lock all those ones in. For the shot props, we'll go with Maddie's boy Barkov 2.5, Toffoli 2.5, Connor 2.5, DeBrincat 2.5. Actually, that's where I would start. Alex DeBrincat, DraftKings 2.5. It's usually 3.5 in some spots. I'm jealous. 2.5. DraftKings Sportsbook is nice. Mika Zibanejad 2.5 if you can find him, and then Dustin Brown if he plays. There's a lot of games, guys. There's tons. I don't think you need to get too crazy picking upsets, or I dropped in Boston Pittsburgh. That's a tough game to call. There's some other safer plays on the board, but I will go with the hot team Pittsburgh. I know it's back and forth, but I'm leaning with the Pens there. They've just been hot. I'm going to rapid fire here through just DK quickly. Some stacks that I like. I think Tampa's that early game, so forget it. Washington, I have no problem spending up for Ovi. Oshie's super cheap, so it balances out. There's a little bit of value there. Vegas, but look at line 2 for Vegas. Philly and New York. I think there's going to be some goals scored there. There's value in Winnipeg with Pierre-Luc Dubois and Stastny. I think if you're looking for first or anytime goals, Farabee, Mika Zibanejad, DeBrincat for Hagee, Washington, Oshie, Winnipeg, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Vegas, Marcia So, and then let's go with, even though Eric's on the Kings can still win, but David Perron's going to score first. All right, Eric, it's been a pleasure, man. That was a lot of games.
It's a ton of games, man. And
it's a ton of games. I love it. I've been asking for it.
Unfortunately, I have to go to work and I won't get to watch any. So,
Matt, we appreciate you. Matt killed it on the weekend too. So make sure you give him a follow and check out his show on the weekend. He's giving out winners as well. Promo code Meaney if you want some more goods over at FTN. Have a good one. Enjoy. We'll talk to you on Wednesday. Cheers.